And expatriation is no doubt one of the most exciting periods in your life, but it can also be one of the most challenging for you and your family. There are a number of phases on the expat curve, or of course depending on the individual, the cultural differences, and your level of expat experience. The first phase is what we call the honeymoon phase. This is where everything is still new and exciting, like if you were a tourist in this country, or as the name suggests, just like the beginning of any relationship where the differences between you and your partner are, of course, noticed, but brushed off as interesting or even charming. Only later, when the initial stardust has somewhat worn off, the differences become the source of slight frustration or feeling of mild incompetence. Use the positive energy of the honeymoon phase to establish yourself, create a social network and routines. You're going to need that later. The next phase is the initial culture shock. You can no longer pretend that you are just a tourist because the stakes are higher now. This might get initiated by a conflict or problem. Sickness in your family, a conflict with your manager, or maybe some sudden problems with your resettlement. Back home, it wouldn't have been a big thing, but in a new and unfamiliar context, you are more easily shaken. You're asking yourself for the first time, what am I doing here? Be careful about taking a trip back to your home country now. It might be difficult for you to return. Rather, you should rely on the relations and routines you build up during the honeymoon phase. If you suspend your initial urge to travel home, you will probably end up in a phase of superficial adaptation. Here you've learned many of the easy norms of the society, simply by copying what you see. You've learned the routines, the etiquette, and simple do's and don'ts, where to sit and where to place the cutlery, the level of physical contact and tone of voice. On the surface, it all looks okay, but soon you'll realize that there is a deeper level of values, priorities, and ideas that are still too strange for you. This is where you might experience a full culture shock, where you conclude that the people you live with are either barbarians or maybe just plain evil, immoral, inhuman, or simply just dead wrong on central issues of life, work, faith, or social approach. At this point, you wish you could live a life behind closed curtains, watch satellite television from the civilized part of the world, and stay away from real human contact. This is tough, and what you need to do is force yourself out and back into the social contact. After a while, you gain the respect for them and their perspective, and realize you don't have to become like them. You just need to understand why their world makes sense to them. This is the integration. Now you might think it's all happiness and bliss, but for many people there is another stage, and that is actually the hardest part. This is coming home. The re-entry or reverse culture shock. Your home country probably haven't changed much, but you have. If you don't realize and prepare for this, you will experience that you don't fit into the one place in the world where you thought you belonged. The re-entry might feel like a setback, like moving back into your parents' house again. So prepare yourself for this. So remember, there is nothing wrong with you. Most people go through these phases during expatriation. So good luck with that.